Hi guys, welcome to the ultimate Xbox Iceberg. Microsoft launched its first Xbox console in 2001 after the company had spent a great effort into a digital library known as DirectX. They wanted to showcase what the software could do with a dedicated gaming system named the DirectX Box, or Xbox for short. A quick disclaimer for this video, I'm just a random guy, so if I get anything wrong, instead of sending me to the pits of hell, just let me know in the comments. All my sources of information will be in the description, and I got this iceberg from the Reddit user Lucas Gameplays LG. Starting off at the tip of the iceberg, we have the Xbox 360, releasing on November of 2005, being Microsoft's best-selling console and successor to the original Xbox. The Xbox 360 sold over 84 million units and overall was a beloved console by all Xbox fans, including myself, spending thousands of hours playing games, and it's still running to this day. Xbox One. The Xbox One is Microsoft's second best-selling console, racking up 58 million units being sold. The Xbox One was a huge upgrade from its predecessor, releasing 8 years later on November of 2013. Xbox Live Gold was a service released on November 15, 2002 for the original Xbox, meaning players from across the world could play together from the comforts of their home. This service gained traction slowly, reaching 1 million users by 2004, doubling 1 year after that. By the time the Xbox 360 came around, the service rapidly increased due to users gaining access to a free limited silver account that gave you the ability to message friends and use the online console store, or a paid gold version which enabled online play. From the release of the Xbox One, if you pay for the Xbox Live Gold, Microsoft gives out a few games each month for free that if you claim in that time frame, you get to keep forever. Xbox Live is still available today, now also being able to be combined with the next entry, the Xbox Game Pass. The Xbox Game Pass is a monthly subscription that gives you access to currently over 400 games, so you'd probably never finish them all. The Xbox Game Pass can also be combined with Xbox Live as a service called Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which works out cheaper than buying them separately. The Xbox Series X and S are just the next generation updated versions of the Xbox One. The Series S is focused on being a more affordable console, only being able to do digital play as it does not come equipped with a disc drive, and being less powerful than the Series X, which does come with a disc drive and obviously has more power. Avatar. Avatar is referring to your avatar you can make for the Xbox Online service, being at its most popular on the Xbox 360. You can design your character in any way you like, even using items and clothing from popular games. They even had a role to play in games on the Xbox 360, where you played as yourself, well, your avatar. One of the most popular being Doritos Crash Course, that was even ported over to the Xbox One. Personally, these games were my favourite. Gamer Pick. Gamer Pick refers to the select pictures Xbox users could use for their profile picture, many of these now being very nostalgic for people. Paid Gamer Pick packs were also released on the Xbox 360 as well, but once you were allowed to use custom images on the Xbox One, they faded into existence. I still remember my Lord of the Rings pack I paid for though. I loved it. Achievements. Achievements are used on pretty much every console nowadays, but the Xbox 360's implementation of them in 2005 was considered the first easy version of an easily accessible multi-game achievement system. Each game you played would have certain challenges or achievements that if you completed, you got a pop-up awarding you, also giving you gamer points that are displayed next to your profile to show off to other players. Achievements could range anywhere from just opening the game to completing Halo 2 on the hardest difficulty, which is very hard. Speaking of Halo. Halo is a game franchise developed by Bungie originally, now being managed by 343 Industries. The first game, Combat Evolved, released in 2001, and the latest game, Halo Infinite, was released in 2021. To this day, it is Microsoft's most popular franchise and one of the biggest in all of gaming, being one of the main selling points for consumers of all Xboxes that were released, whether they enjoyed the thrilling campaign or mess around with their friends in the multiplayer. Most people would agree, once Bungie stood back from developing Halo, the franchise went downhill, and instead of the games being made with passion and love, they became a cash grab opportunity. Although the recent decline in player base, all of the Halo games, especially the older ones, are still enjoyed to this day by Xbox users like myself and even Steam users. Personally, Halo Reach is my favourite. Piracy. Now, I'm not quite sure what this is referring to, but I think it's to do with Microsoft making all of the Xboxes very hard to install pirated games on, by hacking them, also known as cracking. From my research, it seems the only console that this was possible on was the Xbox 360, but other than that, many have tried, and many have failed. Moving down to the next tier of the iceberg, we have the original Xbox released in 2001 that started everything, selling over 24 million units. Take a look at how low the specs were on consoles back then. This beast was running 64 megabytes of RAM and had 8 to 10 gigabytes of storage. For context, the Xbox Series X has 60 gigabytes of RAM, that's 250 times more. It's insane what games used to run on. Memory card. I believe this is talking about how the OG Xbox controllers had memory card slots that you could save your games onto. This was convenient for moving your saves around to different consoles, which I actually find quite a cool concept and must have came in handy when going around to your friend's house for a gaming session. XBLA, also known as the Xbox Live Arcade. This was a video game distribution service available through the Xbox Game Store on the Xbox 360. That focused on smaller downloadable games from both major publishers, but more importantly, independent game devs. As of October 2016, there have been 719 Xbox Live Arcade titles released. Now I think the best thing to come away from this were the indie games, only costing consumers around $1 to $2. Many major successes came from this platform, like Battle Block Theater and Castle Crashers, that are still popular to this day. There were also, of course, others that haven't quite kept the popularity to this day, but still hold a nostalgic place in many's heart, and were thoroughly enjoyed at the time. The best selling one being Castle Miners Z, selling over 2 million copies, and was basically a knockoff version of Minecraft, yet many, including myself, couldn't get enough of it. Some honourable mentions as well include Epoxy, which was a knockoff of Daisy, and all the Avatar indie games that I personally loved, especially Avatar survival games, being a knockoff of the Hunger Games. Xbox One TV meme. There's not too much information about this entry, but I think it's talking about on the announcement of the Xbox One, Microsoft focused on informing the audience about its new interactive TV functionality rather than its new and improved gaming functionality, thus led to PlayStation to say in their review, "The most important thing we need to do is agree and understand that the PS4 is a great video game console that appeals to video gamers." He said, "If we miss that part, I don't think we get the initial establishment of the console. That formula has worked for us with all our consoles, including the PS3.
TV experience. TV and movies. TV. Xbox. Watch TV. 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 Watch TV. TV remote. TV experience.
Microsoft Studios / Xbox Game Studios. The Xbox Game Studios currently has 23 game development studios in connection with them, most of them being very big names like Mojang, Obsidian, and Bethesda Softworks. Xbox 360 keyboard. This is actually new to me after many years of being an Xbox 360 player. I didn't realise you can actually use a keyboard and mouse to navigate the menus, send messages, and even play with some games that support it. Although this sounds good, it was a rather expensive task to do, as you would need an adapter for the setup to work, one of them being an XSIM Apex. That on eBay sits for around £100 to £200, so is it really worth it? Mixer. Mixer was a live streaming service developed in 2016, formerly known as Beam, that was rebranded to Mixer in 2017, that signed on major streamers like Ninja for ridiculous amounts of money, allegedly being around the $50 million range. I guess fortunately for him, Mixer was shut down on July 22nd, 2020, due to the website simply not gaining enough traction. Xbox Network. This is just the online network you get access for creating an Xbox account. Plunging further down into the water now, the Red Ring of Death. This for me and many other people growing up was their worst nightmare. It was essentially when the green icon on the front of your Xbox 360 would flash red. Me being a young child and many others at the time didn't know the cause of this, and it would strike fear into our souls if this ever happened, as we believed it meant your Xbox had died. I actually had this happen to me once around the age of 10 years old. It had me nervously shaking, so I left my house for a few hours, and luckily the problem was magically fixed. According to Wikipedia, the Red Ring of Death, also known as the general error requiring service of the console power adapter, is a hardware issue that causes 3 flashing red lights around the Xbox 360's power button instead of 4 green lights indicating normal operation. According to Leo Del Castillo, a member of Xbox's hardware engineering group, this issue was caused by connectors inside the components of the console breaking or having issues with the power supply. The issue cost Microsoft over $1 billion. Preloaded music on the Xbox 360. The early Xbox 360 models actually came preloaded with these 12 songs. No one really knows why they were there, but the people who did stumble upon these timeless classics seem to enjoy them and find them very nostalgic. Xbox 360 HD DVD player. This device is a discontinued accessory for the Xbox 360 that enables playback of movies on HD DVD discs. Microsoft offered the disc drive for sale between November 2006 and February 2008, and it was initially sold for $199. This clearly didn't take off due to the discontinuation. I wasn't even aware of its existence. Did you guys ever own one? Cancelled and lost games. Wiki Xbox has a long list of cancelled and lost Xbox video games, including some riveting ones like Taxi Driver. After the Xbox 360's major success, many couldn't wait for the next console, and people online were theorizing its looks and name. This here looked to be the most common concept, called the Xbox 720. I remember believing this back in the day, as I guess it did make some sense. Instead we got the Xbox One, which I will say Microsoft kind of sucks at naming consoles because the One and 360 aren't even related to each other. At least, 360 went up to 720, but so it's Xbox Live Gold for free. Now, this entry isn't exactly as it sounds, but as of April 2021, every Xbox One and Xbox Series S and X owner are able to play free multiplayer games without Xbox Live Gold, including Destiny 2, Call of Duty Warzone, Fortnite, and Apex Legends. This is great for gamers that only play games like this, so they don't have to spend money on a subscription. Kinect Adventures best-selling game. The Xbox 360's best-selling game was, lo and behold, Kinect Adventures, which is a full-featured Kinect game where you and your friends explore the world through 20 active adventures. The game's success was down to it being a fun game to play, but also the fact it was shipped with every Xbox Kinect bundle. The Xbox Kinect was a motion controller peripheral made to compete with the likes of the Wii. Xbox One controversy Peter Moore. Peter Moore, a former Xbox executive, said on a podcast interview in 2015, the entire Xbox brand might have ended several years ago if Microsoft's now former CEO, Steve Ballmer, had not made the decision to spend over $1 billion to deal with the Red Ring of Death crisis that hit the Xbox 360 in 2007. I'm glad they did do that. Xbox Series X mini fridge. This started off as a meme due to the successor to the Xbox One being the Xbox Series X having a strange resemblance to a mini fridge, creating a meme in the community. So instead of Microsoft taking the feedback negatively, they actually released a 1-to-1 scale replica mini fridge for $89.99 Great British pounds. The fans loved it. The Xbox Live Vision is a webcam accessory for the Xbox 360 released in 2006 that can be used for video chat, personalized gamer pics, in-game video chat, and still pictures. The camera boasts a whopping 640 by 480 video at 30 FPS. It also required Xbox Live Gold. Xbox Magazine. The official Xbox Magazine, or OXM for short, was a British monthly video game magazine which started in November of 2001 around the launch of the original Xbox. The magazine was bundled with a disc that included game demos, preview videos, and trailers and other content, such as game or Xbox updates and free gamer pics. The discs also provided the software for the Xbox 360 for backwards compatibility of original Xbox games for those without broadband and Xbox Live access. As of January 2012, OXM no longer included a demo disc, and in mid-2014, the US version was merged into the UK version on the website, which lasted only a few months until Future plc announced that it was closing its website along with all the other websites that Future had published. Xbox Adaptive Controller. Matt Height, an engineer for Microsoft, spotted a custom controller made by Warfighter Engaged on Twitter in 2014. Warfighter Engaged is a non-profit started by Ken Jones in 2012 that provides gaming devices to injured veterans. Height contacted Jones, and in 2015 a team of engineers at Xbox and gaming division began working on a prototype controller to help improve accessibility for video game input. Initially, the team developed a controller that used the Kinect motion sensing technology to track the player's gestures and movements and translate them to controller inputs. Although the motion tracking controller was not further developed, it was recognized by corporate leadership and inspired another employee team later that year to build a controller attached with interfaces that allowed non-traditional input devices for gamers who had difficulty using the standard controller. Now we are getting a bit juicy and moving on to the mid-section of the iceberg. Partnership with Sega. In 2021, Microsoft and Sega announced a strategic alliance to produce large-scale global games in a next-generation development environment built on Microsoft's Azure cloud platform. This is a quote from Sega. "We already have a very close business relationship with Microsoft. We outsource the development of their large-scale titles, and as a third party, we are supplying a variety of titles," the company said, referring to its studio's work on Halo Wars 2 and Age of Empires 4. Xbox Linux. Xbox Linux was a project that ported the Linux operating system to the original Xbox console. This was done by using either a mod chip or a soft mod, and supposedly was quite easy. An Xbox with Linux installed can act as a full desktop computer with a mouse and keyboard. It can also act as a server, a router, or node in a cluster. You can either dual boot the console or just use Linux by itself. The Rock at the 2001 Xbox reveal. Now in 2001, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson wasn't the household name he is today, but he still was at the time the best wrestling star and was preparing for his first film, The Mummy, when Microsoft called upon him to reveal the launch of the Xbox.
For instance, I know that you're a 5-time WWF champion, not to mention one of the top entertainers in the world.
Multitasking graphical user interface environment that runs on MS-DOS-based computers along with Windows NT and Windows 2000, completely self-contained operating systems that feature networking, symmetric multi-processing, multi-threading. The Xbox is everything The Rock is. Cutting edge, powerful, exhilarating, and like The Rock, it will be the most electrifying thing coming out this year.
I find this whole thing pretty funny, as it's just so random to me, getting The Rock to quote off all these specifications that he has no idea what they mean, and probably will never touch a console. Darkmaster Xbox Live. Darkmaster is a user's gamer tag from the early 2000s Xbox advertisements that was used to show off the Xbox's online multiplayer capabilities, showing his name on different leaderboards and playing with other users. The name was mostly just Microsoft trying to have a cool name that would resonate with the kids, but some people believe Darkmaster is an actual player and still plays to this day, as his one Reddit user claims to have added a user by the name Darkmaster that has been an Xbox Live subscriber for 19 years and is still active now. This could be the Darkmaster, or potentially someone who saw this ad when it first came out and stole the username. Mascots. Now, this is quite a subjective topic, but personally for me, I believe the mascot of Microsoft is Steve from Minecraft, with it being the biggest and most recognizable game ever. But for the Xbox, it's got to be the Master Chief from the Halo franchise. If you were to show a picture of him to any gamer, I can almost guarantee they will know who it is and from what console. Go on, look at this guy. He's awesome. Japan hates Xbox. The Xbox brand has never managed to gain any real traction with Japanese developers or the gaming community over the years. This is not because people in Japan inherently hate Microsoft or the Xbox, it's more about how Microsoft has approached gaming in Japan and its unwillingness to adapt to the needs of a unique market. Japanese gaming culture is much less focused on hyper-realistic first-person shooter games and more targeted to the cartoony fun Nintendo-style games. Nintendo also has much more of a market over there due to the portability and cooperative nature of their consoles, where a group of friends can all play together on one device, like the Wii. Whereas with the Xbox, it's more of an in-person solo experience with the ability to do online multiplayer, and I think just in Japan it's a lot more of a social thing. People can go to cafes, play on their DS's, their Switches, but you can't do that with an Xbox. Discarded names for the Xbox name. The original name for the Xbox was the Direct Xbox. They got it shortened down to the Xbox, but before they came to that result, there were many prototype names that were not great. For example, we have Exxon, CPG, and Mox. Xbox carrying case. It was a carrying case for the Xbox. The origin of the color green. Xbox has always had this recognizable green color for its branding. The Xbox co-creator, Seamus Blackley, said that a man named Horace Luke with his co-workers were in a meeting trying to come up with a logo and were giving a set of color pens. The other co-workers took all the good ones, and the only one left was this green colour that nobody wanted. His design was picked, and from that day, the logo has always been this shade of green. Xbox Live parties with friends. This was a feature that allowed up to 8 friends to watch a movie or episode of a show together using Xbox Live avatars, popularised in the early days of the Xbox 360, but was removed due to Netflix wanting to have a universal app across all platforms. I really wish this feature was still a thing. Okay, now we're moving on to Tier 5. Trolls in 4chan. This was referring to trolls in 4chan giving out fake Xbox One instructions that would ultimately lead to users bricking their consoles. The prank was convincing users that they can unlock their consoles, allowing you to play games designed for the Xbox 360 before this became an official feature of the Xbox One. This picture was posted with instructions informing you to go to the system menu, press LB, RB, LT, RT in order quickly, then select Developer Console, check the Enable DevKit box, and change the sandbox ID to freezone.reboot, and finally select Reset Home Console. Xbox 360 games will now be available on your console. This was not the case, causing many people to brick their console, rendering it completely useless. I'm sure many parents were frustrated at their children who attempted this after spending their hard-earned savings on a brand new console just for them to go and ruin it. Original Xbox webcam. The Xbox webcam was released in 2004 for the Xbox to be used on the Xbox Video Chat Network, but was only released in Japan. A release for Western countries was planned, although it was ultimately cancelled, most likely for it just not being popular enough. Xbox theme Windows XP. In 2002, Microsoft contracted the Skin Factory to release an official Xbox window blinds theme and Windows Media Player skin that look like this. Personally, I think it looks pretty cool, for that era, and I would have been all over this at the time if I was alive then. Xbox Fan Fest. The Xbox Fan Fest is a combination of exclusive in-person and virtual events, content, sweepstakes, merch, and much more, allowing fans to participate in the Xbox community, similar I guess to the likes of TwitchCon or Gamescom, but obviously just for the Xbox. Commercials and banned ads. Now Xbox has had a few banned commercials in their time, due to some being deemed as offensive or inappropriate. The BBC News Channel wrote an article about one in particular, that being called Life is Short, saying that they received 136 complaints from viewers who found it offensive, shocking, and in bad taste. The ad begins with a woman giving birth to a baby boy who then shoots out of a window, flying through the air, with the boy rapidly aging and screaming before violently crashing into a grave, ending with the phrase, "Life is short, play more." I get the message they were trying to convey with this, but it didn't come out that way. It's just a pretty strange one if I'm honest. It's quite unsettling. I can see why they got rid of it. DirectX Box. I've already covered this earlier, so moving on to Ghost in Xbox Kinect. The Xbox Kinect is a camera peripheral that adds motion and voice control to the Xbox console. Many people, though, have reported that their Kinect has picked up people in the room when no one is there. One Reddit user wrote a story about how her friend's husband was at home playing on his Xbox and was the only one in his man cave at the time with the door and lights shut off. When all of a sudden his Kinect pops up saying that there had been an unidentified person detected in the room. He looked over his shoulder and nothing was there. After turning his Kinect on and off, it no longer showed the unidentified person, but her friend was now convinced that her house was haunted. The Kinect has also been used in Travel Channel's Ghost Adventures for a ghost hunting experiment. The Xbox Kinect and its ghost mysteries could have its own Iceberg video to itself, so let me know if that interests you. It's also been used in films like Paranormal Activity for scary scenes. Xbox original dashboards with sounds. Unlike nowadays, with the likes of PlayStation's nice, gentle, ambient background noise on the dashboard, the original Xbox took a much different approach, having what many describe as creepy ambient sounds and voices that played in the background, like this. For those that were originally unaware of these sounds, it struck fear into them. One Reddit user even claimed that his girlfriend at the time ran out of the house as he left his Xbox on one night, and she woke up to the noise, not knowing where it was coming from, scaring her. The sound wasn't actually the demons coming to haunt you, it was NASA transmissions from the Apollo days that Microsoft tweaked to make the Xbox sound otherworldly and futuristic. Xbox Watch. The Xbox Watch was a cancelled project that was originally worked on by Microsoft in 2013. The device was worked on by the same team that created the Kinect and was planned to be used with the sensor and other Xbox accessories. The project was cancelled as Microsoft shifted work to other projects. From the leaked images, this watch just seems to be like a pretty normal smartwatch, including features like heart rate monitoring, GPS tracking, and workout routines. Sega Chihiro. The Sega Chihiro is an arcade system produced by Sega and Microsoft based on the Xbox console. It was named after the protagonist of Studio Ghibli's Spirited Away movie. The console ran on the same CPU and GPU as the Xbox, using GD-ROM media instead of DVDs. I don't think this console ever really took off because if you look at the games list, well, it's pretty sparse, but I think it was more for people that really enjoy the arcade type style games, but on one console. We are now diving down to the second to last tier, starting with Apache Enforcer. Apache Enforcer was the last player in the world to play Halo 2 online on the Xbox on May 10th, 2010. Due to the Xbox 360 already being out for a number of years, Microsoft decided it was time to close down the Halo 2 servers on the Xbox, but die-hard fans of this game would not accept this and logged onto the servers one last time, having no plan of logging out. This would cause the server that they were on to stay open. This started on April 15th, with Apache being one of the noble 14 who kept their connection running. Microsoft attempted luring away the fans of Halo Reach beta codes, but Apache stayed on until May 10th when he was booted from the game, ending Halo 2 on the original Xbox Live. Deltona Massacre. Now I don't really want to get into detail about it in this video, but essentially in 2004, a group of 4 people killed a group of 6 people over an Xbox console due to one of the members of the group not yet returning it to someone from the attacker's group. Xbox consoles never made a profit for Microsoft. That is correct. At least according to Microsoft, they stated they have always sold Xbox consoles at a loss and have never earned profit from console sales. You may be wondering, why would they even still make consoles? Well, they make the majority of their money from Xbox Live Gold, the Xbox Game Pass, Ultimate, game sales and accessories. Their tactic really is to sell a console for as cheap as they can so that once someone has it, they have to spend money on Microsoft's games and services and accessories, as you have no other choice. If you buy an Xbox, you have to buy Xbox games. Xbox Kill Screen. The Xbox Kill Screen is a series of videos people would upload to the internet showing error messages from the Xbox that would warn you to turn off your console before it gets damaged. And when people would turn off their console and turn it back on, it would be followed with more errors and the loading screen turning red with creepy sounds and more warnings saying things like their files have been corrupted, and sometimes even the Xbox like talking back to them. To my knowledge, all of these videos are fake, and I'm not aware of any real instances of this happening, but it did used to creep people out back in the day and make them worry that it could happen to their console. Xbox One would have custom scents. Microsoft once made an Xbox One controller that was capable of discharging smells when designing the controller for the upcoming Xbox One. The team tested smell-o-vision technology that would release different scents during gameplay, like as you walked through the jungle, you'd smell the flora. The team made hundreds of different concepts for the Xbox One controller, and obviously did not end up going for the scent design. ARGs. An alternate reality game is an interactive narrative that uses the real world as a platform, often involving multiple media and game elements to tell a story that may be affected by participants' ideas or actions. Here is a full list of the ARG games for the Xbox on this Wikipedia page. For an example of an ARG, we have Oxenfree, where the community of the game had to work together to translate Morse code, keep up with Twitter feeds, travel to locations, and call phone numbers to solve the mystery. Exploit. The exploit is referring to, for years, there were rumours about a portable Xbox game console, since Nintendo had the Game Boy, then the DS, and Sony had the PSP, so why not Microsoft? Well, former Xbox lead Robbie Batch told Tech Insider that it's just not a priority and not something we are going to do. There might be someone who could do a good job at this, but that's not going to be us. Original Xbox prototype. The original Xbox prototype was a huge silver X-shaped milled from a silver block of aluminium with a light in the centre. The light would glow green when the console was turned on and would stay dark when it was not in use. The console's disk drive, ventilation and other ports were placed on the back side of the console. Because of the console's large size and being made out of a solid block of aluminium, the prototypes reportedly cost $18,000 each to manufacture. So you can see why they went with the smaller plastic option. Personally, I think this is a pretty badass console, but also hugely inconvenient and not very subtle if that's what you prefer in consoles. And also the disk drive being on the back means if it was pressed up by a wall, you're going to have to move it. It'd be pretty annoying. Finally, making it down to the deepest depths of the Xbox Iceberg on the last tier with Xbox creepypastas. A creepypasta is a horror-related legend that is frequently copy and pasted online, often on forums and social sites. These entries are often brief, user-generated, paranormal stories intended to scare readers. This trend led over to the Xbox, with many users sharing their stories, including this one, where a user shares a story about a creepy experience where he was invited to an Xbox party and could hear someone talking back to him. It was his own voice, and after leaving the party, he kept receiving voice notes with the same voice speaking back, absolutely terrifying him. Now this is a very condensed version of that story, and I have the full in links below. Kinect was created by the Israeli military force. Now, I can't quite find any evidence that the Xbox Kinect was created by the Israeli military force, but there are many instances of militaries using Xbox hardware. For example, inside this Israeli tank, they actually use an Xbox controller to control and steer the vehicle, weapon systems, and all other manner of operations, which I find crazy. Also, certain navies have used the Xbox 360 controllers to guide periscopes on their nuclear-powered warfare submarines. This is because the original joysticks cost $38,000 and required many hours of training, whereas the Xbox 360 controller at the time cost $39.95 and was much easier to learn. It is likely that there are many other ways Xbox hardware is used in militaries that we will never know about, but this is still one of the craziest facts to me that they just use Xbox controllers. The startup logo for the original Xbox gave kids nightmares. Now, some users on online forums claim that the original Xbox startup creeped them out and gave them nightmares as a kid, due to its strange resemblance to watching living flesh getting mutated inside a distorted alien lab like it was agonizing, and when the sounds were the most loud and aggressive, it transformed to the sharp-edged void of the X, according to this one Reddit user at least. I'll play the startup now and see what you think. Obviously, this would have only really been the case for children, but I can still see how the whole vibe of it is just quite unsettling, and I think a large part of that is due to the sound design. But let me know, did it bother you as a kid or not? Well, that about wraps up the Xbox Iceberg. Again, I'm just a random guy, so don't hate me too much if I got anything wrong. Let me know your opinions on the Iceberg and the different entries, and let me know which you would like me to do next. Obviously, don't forget to subscribe to see more,